Welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Miss Amir Samir, a mathematics teacher. If you like the content of my channel, don't forget to press the like button and press subscribe to receive all the new lessons. Unit number 2, Rational Numbers. Lesson number 1 and 2. In Concept 1, explore the number line. Lesson 1, using the number line to describe data. Number 2, using a number line and symbols to compare numbers. The answer of the previous homework. You buy one package of apples with 24 pieces. You have already eaten piece when you remember that you gave friend half of an apple package. Number A, what fraction represents the number of pieces with your friend? Okay, you have already 24 pieces and you share the half with your friend. So, what is the half of 24? It's 12, correct? How can I write this as a fraction? I have to write 12, the number I share it, out of 24. This is the total number of apples. So it's 12 out of 24. B, after giving your friend his share, what fraction represents the amount of fruit package that is left? I ate 1, don't forget that, and I gave my friend 12. So 11 left. How can I write it as a fraction? It's 11 out of 24. Let's know the difference between the counting numbers, natural numbers, and integers. Counting numbers, the number that we can use to count things, pens, fingers, toys, sandwiches, anything. Okay, when we count, we start counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so the counting numbers begin with 1 and continue without ending. What about the natural numbers? Natural numbers is like the counting numbers, but it's begin with a 0 and continue without ending. So we put 0 first, then we put the counting numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. What about the integers? An integer is a number. Could be 0, or positive number, or negative number. Negative number is a positive number with a minus sign before it. Let's see this example to understand what the meaning of positive numbers and negative numbers. In the picture, we can see that the bird is about 3 meters above the surface of the sea. Ari is about 5 meters below the surface of the sea. If we take the surface of the sea to be at 0 meters, so this is the surface of the sea, it's at 0 meters. So the bird is 3 meters above. Ari is 5 meters below. If Ari is at a height about 5 meters, he will be higher than the bird. He will be in this place. So we can use the negative numbers to represent the position of objects that are below the surface of the sea. To represent these items, we can say it's a negative number of meters. So we can say that Ari is at a height of negative 5 meters. So negative 5 is an example of negative numbers. Negative numbers that are less than 0 are the opposite of positive. That means if I have here 1, I'll find negative 1, 3 in positive and 3 in negative, and so on. From this number line, we have here 0 in the middle, and here negative 5, negative 10, negative 15, and the other side 5, 10, 15. We can see that the negative numbers are numbers which are smaller than 0. The positive numbers are numbers which are greater than 0. The origin point is the point that represents 0. So 0 is the origin point. Negative and positive numbers appear on opposite sides of zeros on the number line. So if I said this is 1, negative 1, this will be 1. Negative 2, 2. Negative 3, 3. Negative 4, 4. Negative 5, and 5. The integers are infinite numbers. So it extends to infinity, right to the 0, and left to the 0. So if I go to this direction, it's infinite numbers of positive numbers. If I go to the other direction, infinite numbers of negative numbers. So that I draw arrow here and arrow in the other side also. Remember, the integer 0 is neither positive nor negative. It's not a positive, and also it's not a negative. It's 0. Number 2, the non-negative integers. What the meaning of non-negative? It's not negative. So it could be 0 or positive. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. The positive integers. That means the numbers are not positive. So could be 0 or negative. So the answer is 0, -1, -2, -3. We can say that integers is z. And this is 0. And the negative numbers, we can say it's a negative z and positive z. This is the positive numbers. So all the integers are negative, 0, positive. Okay, if I said what are the non-negative, so we can cross this out. So the non-negative is 0 and positive. If I'm asking what are the non-positive, 0 and negative numbers. Look at the thermometer below. What is the temperature shown? I can see that positive numbers appear above 0. This is the 0. So all positive numbers above the 0. And negative numbers appear below 0. Let's see the temperature here. The temperature is below 0. If we count, this is 0 and this is -10, then -11, -12, -13, -14, -15. The thermometer says that the temperature is -15 degrees Celsius, which is an integer. We have to know that integer has to be whole number, like 1, 2, 3, or 0, or -1, -2, -3. So if it's a decimal or a fraction, it's not an integer. 17, it's an integer. -15, it's integer. 3.5, it's not an integer. 0, integer. -3.9, wrong, because it's a decimal number. -4/4, it's an integer, because -4/4 means -1. We said that if I have a fraction with the same numerator and denominator, so that means 1. So now the value of -4/4, -1. 6 and 3/8, it's not an integer. Exercise number 2. Write an integer to represent each of the following situations. The first one, a profit of 31. If I want to represent profit, it will be positive 31. We don't put the positive sign. So I will write 31. A loss of 40. So it's -40. يعني خسرت 40. So it's -40. Next, 8 degrees below 0. It's -8. 6 degrees increase of 200 pounds. That means I add 6 to 200. So it's 200 plus 6 equals 206. Next, 14 meters above the sea level, more than the sea level, more than 0. So it will be 14. 10 meters below the ground, under the ground, less than 0. That means -10. A building height is 20 meters. It's above the 0. So it will be positive. So I will write only 20. 2 steps forward. When I go forward, I add 2. 9 steps backward. When I go backward, I subtract. So 9 steps backward means -9. The sea level is 0 and it's an integer. A temperature of 5 degrees below 0. 5 degrees less than 0. So -5. A bank deposit is 4000 LE. Bank deposit اللي هي يعني عمل إيداع. To add. So it will be 4000. So the word deposit means we add. The tree is 4 meters height. So it will be 4. Positive. A decrease of 200 LE. Decrease means become smaller. Decrease from big to small. So it will be -200. A gain of 7 kilograms. Gain of 7 kilograms يعني تخنت 7 kilograms. So plus 7, or I write it 7. What is the smallest counting numbers? When we count colors, for example, we don't start counting with 0, 0, 1, 2. No, of course, we start with 1, 1, then 2, then 3. So the counting numbers that we use it to count things. So the smallest counting number is 1. Represent each of the following numbers on the horizontal number line. This called a horizontal number line, and this called the vertical number lines. vertical V, vertical like this, but this is a horizontal H like this line. So it's a horizontal. 4 is positive, so you have to put it in the right side of 0. Count 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the first one. Then -2, it's negative. On the left side of 0, 0, -1, -2. Then 0, this is 0. Then 3, it's positive in the positive part. -5, go to the left. -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. B, -2. This is 0, go to the left side. -1, -2. -1, it's here. -1, go one step to the left of 0. 1, it's positive, so you have to go to the right direction and jump one step after 0. And 2, jump 2 steps after 0 to find 2. Number 2, represent each of the following numbers on the vertical number line. This is the vertical number line, be vertical like this. How can I represent these numbers on the vertical number lines? Number A, 10, it's positive, so this is 0. Then go up till reach 10. It's 10 above 0. -2. -2 is less than 0, so you will go 2 steps down 0, and this is -2. -3, it's also smaller than 0. It's negative number, so you will go down 1, 2, 3 steps below the 0. 5, it's positive, so you will go above 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then 3, it's 3 steps above 1, 2, 3. Let's go to the second number line. -4, it's negative, so you have to go below. This is -4. -3 is 3 steps below 0. This is the -3. Then -2, this is -2. -1, this is -1. And this is 0, and this is 1 in the positive place. The opposite number, additive inverse. On the number line, any two numbers that are the same distance from 0 and on two opposite positions of 0 are called opposite or additive inverse. What the meaning of this? This is 0, the origin point. If I go one step to the left, I'll find -1. If I go one step to the right, I'll find 1. So the distance here is 1 unit right or 1 unit left. So this is the same distance from 0. 1 and -1 are opposite numbers. 1 is the additive inverse of -1. -1 is the additive inverse of 1. Let's see if I go 2 steps to the right. 1, 2, I'll find 2. 2 steps to the left. 1, 2, I'll find -2. 2 steps to the left, 2 steps to the right. So 2 and -2 are opposites or additive inverses. If I go 3 steps to the left, -3. 3 steps to the right, 3. 3 and -3, opposites or additive inverse. The opposite of 5 is -5. The opposite of -5 is 5. The opposite of the opposite of 5. What the meaning of this? Opposite means negative. The opposite of 5, -5. Negative, negative is positive. So opposite of opposite, that means negative, negative, that gives me 5. This is very important. What the opposite of 0? It's always 0. Use the number line, write the integer for each point, then give its opposite. Its opposite means the additive inverse. From the beginning, you can write all the numbers to be easier. So this is 0 and this is 5. First, you have to know you will jump how many steps. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you count in ones. Sometimes you will count in 2s or 5s or 10s. So you have to know you count in ones. So this is 1, this is 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on, and 6. Okay, let's go to the other direction. The negative numbers, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, and -6. A is -2. And he said, write the additive inverse. The additive inverse is 2. B, it's -4. The additive inverse is, or the opposite is 4. C, 1. The additive inverse is -1. D, it's 4. Its value is 4. The additive inverse is -4. E, -6. The additive inverse is 6. F, 0. And we said the additive inverse of 0 is 0. Next, write the opposite or additive inverse of each of the following numbers. 0, the additive inverse is 0. B, -21. Yes, it's 21. 1,200, -1,200. -5, it's 5. -60, 60. Okay, what about if it -7? -7, it means 7. So the opposite inverse, it will be -7. So the meaning of -7 or opposite of the opposite of 7, 7. So the additive inverse is -7. How can we compare and order integers? When we compare two integers on number line, the integer that is farther to the right is greater. That means if I go to this direction, the numbers be bigger. So 10 is bigger than 8, and 8 bigger than 7, 7 bigger than 0, and 0 bigger than -2, -2 bigger than -6, and so on. In February, the temperature was -2 degrees Celsius in London, and it was 7 degrees Celsius in Egypt. At which country was the temperature greater? If I try to show it on the number line, so this is 0, then I will put -2, and this will be London, L, and 7, it's between 6 and 8. So this is Egypt. Which is greater? 7 is bigger than -2. Number 2, put in order -2, 5, and -8. If I draw a number line, I put here -8, -2, and 5. If I go to this direction, the numbers became bigger. When I put in order, -8 is smaller than -2, and -2 smaller than 5. Any negative number is smaller than any positive number. Let's compare. Which is bigger, 2 or 8? 2 is positive, 8 is positive, 8 bigger than 2. 0 or 6? 6 is bigger than 0. -2 or 5? Any positive bigger than any negative, so 5 bigger than -2. -9 or 0? 0 is also bigger than any negative number, so 0 is bigger. Now I compare -8 and -7. When I compare -8 and -7, if I draw a very small number line and put here, this is, imagine this is -7, and this is -8. Which number is closer to 0, -8 or -7? Yes, it's -7. So it will be bigger than -8. Which is bigger? If I draw my own number line and put 0 first, this is -1, and this is -15. So which is closer or nearer to 0? -1. So it's bigger than -15. 3 or -11. Any positive number is bigger than any negative number. Arrange the following integers in the ascending order. What is the smallest number? Of course, we will start with negative numbers. So I have here -1, -4, and -3. Which is smaller? It's -4. When I write -4, please cross it out. After that, -3, it's nearer to 0 than -4. -1, so we finish the negative numbers. Now let's go back in order: 0, then 2, then 7, then 8. Number 2, arrange the following numbers in the descending order. So start from big to small. When we start from the biggest number, we have to start with positive numbers. 2, 0, it's neither positive nor negative. So start with 2, this is the biggest number, crossed out. Then 1, then 0. Don't forget to cross the numbers, you write it. After 0, which number in the negative numbers, the first number comes after 0? It's -5, then -7, -9, then -12. Try this. The answers: number A, the smallest natural number is 0. We said that the natural numbers are 0 and the counting numbers. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. The smallest one is 0. And the smallest counting number, when we count anything, chocolates, sweets, cupcakes, pens, so we start counting 1, 2, 3. So the smallest number is 1. The smallest positive integer is 1. After 0, 1. And the greatest negative integer is -1. The smallest non-negative integer is, we said if it's non-negative, it could be 0 or positive. So the smallest one is 0. And the greatest non-positive integer is 0. D, which number is neither positive nor negative? 0. E, the integer just next negative. If I said next, I will go to this direction. So -4, the next is -3. F, the integer that between -4 and 1. But it's not -4 and not 1, only between. So here it's 0, -1, -2, and -3. These numbers are between 1 and -4, and you can draw your own number line, a small one, and put -4 and 1 and write the integers that between. G, the opposite of opposite. Opposite means minus. Of opposite of 6, which is -6. -6 is opposite of 6. The opposite of this number is -6. The number of integers that between -2 and 3, you can draw number line and put here 0. This is -1, then -2. And in the other side, you can put 1, 2, then 3. I want the integers that between -2 and 3. These are the integers. The number of integers means how many numbers? 1, 2, 3, 4 integers. I, the integers between -1 and 5. Also, you can draw a number line, but we don't count -1 or 5. So numbers are 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Write true or false. A number and its additive inverse are the same distance away from 0 on the number line, but not opposite sides. That means if I draw a number line, for example, if I'm talking about 1, so the additive inverse is the same distance from 0, but not opposite sides. So if it's not in the opposite sides, it will be the same. So this is false. All opposites are negative inverse. Of course, no. If I have a -4, what is the opposite of -4? It will be 4. So it's not a negative, it's positive. The inverse of -4 is 4. Next, 0 is its own additive inverse. Of course, yes. The additive inverse of 0 is also 0. Next, to show 7 and its additive inverse on the number line, we count 7 units and plot 7 to the right of 0. Then plot 7 units to the left of 0, correct? So if I draw a number line and go to the right side and plot 7 in the positive and go to the other direction and count 7 points and put 7, this 7 will be negative 7 and the first one will be 7. Both of them are opposites or additive inverses. The additive inverse of any number 0? Of course, no. The additive inverse of 5 is negative 5, 10, negative 10, negative 17 is 17, so it's not 0. This is your homework. See you next time, inshallah. Goodbye.